Yo, welcome to Jimmy Eats High Carbs. I am your host, Jimmy Eats. We are on a journey to Wonderland and exiting at 195 pretty soon. Before we get into it, we're up to 89 subscribers. We're at 90. I think if you don't post in like 3 days, YouTube is one of those subscribers and they'll unsubscribe because every time I don't post in a couple days, I lose a subscriber and I don't have enough for people to remember me and be like, I'm gonna go back because he's not posting it consistently. So I think that's just some algorithm motivation to keep posting. Um, just had a busy week. I plan to keep posting at least on a weekly basis. But I came across this video. Everyone wants shortcuts. Cole Robinson calls BS. So we're just gonna get into this Cole Robinson calling BS because yeah, that's what we're gonna do today.
So you keep leaving people in the dust. You talked a lot about fasting for years. You went all the way into like dry fasting. Talked a lot about keto. Talked a lot about these a lot of different types of diets over the years. And then you dropped a bomb on everybody with sugar fasting. People got all fired up, all excited. And now you even tweaked that. Why do you keep tweaking things? Because some people view it as you just like switching from one thing to another. But I view it more as that it's like an evolution, like you're doing something and it's your body or the people that you're helping not responding quite as well as you would like. And then so you're making adjustments. It's not just
So if that's the case, Mark Bell, he should just say that. That's not what he's saying. That's not what he's saying remotely. What he's doing is pretending like he never said this shit and then calling people out of their names, calling people dumb, going back on things that he preached explicitly. So, Mark Bell, I don't know him personally, not in that tax bracket. I'm not saying I'll never be, but as right now, I'm not in that tax bracket to know him personally. But he seems like a really nice guy. And when you do invite somebody on your platform, like you don't want to disrespect them. You don't want them to feel uncomfortable. So I understand where he's coming from with it, but so just all that to say, I'm not going to be commenting on Mark Bell's commentary here. It's going to be on what Cole said versus what Cole said 3 minutes ago.
you switching from one thing to another. That's kind of how I see it.
So my whole YouTube channel from day one has been based on it's shortcut fucking gimmicks. And like I see this on YouTube, like I started, so the first thing I ever talked about was the prolonged water fasting. Okay, that like it's the biggest fucking gimmick known to man, and that got me on TV. You know, this is what people are looking for nowadays. They're looking for fucking shortcuts. And this whole sugar fiasco, sugar diet, and sugar fasting, what it actually ended up doing is leading guys like myself that actually grew up in a time before the internet back in the early 90s, late 80s, when I think that North America specifically was at the pinnacle of dieting advice.
I was born in '89. So yeah, I was young throughout the 90s, and by the time I was a teenager, the internet was taken off. Um, but everybody always wanted a shortcut, and a shortcut doesn't necessarily equal a gimmick. I mean, from this guy's mouth, lose the weight fast, and then diet, and then figure out how to sustain it. And there's nothing wrong with that approach. Now all of a sudden, it's a gimmick that don't make sense. It's backwards. Like, it's just
It brought me all the way back there. It brought me back because there's a few things that came good from that where, you know, dropping the fat through the floor. So now I have conviction with that. Uh, Yanking lean protein out of your fucking diet and restricting protein is fucking ridiculous. Like risking muscle loss is fucking retarded. So there's that. And like you come from that same background, so
we're gonna do a lot of pausing. We're gonna do a lot of pausing because I thought it didn't get rid of your muscle mass. I thought if I wasn't scared to fast for days on end, I shouldn't be scared to eat sugar for days on end. I think that's what you said, Mr. Cole Robinson. And you got results on this, Mr. Cole Robinson, and some of your clients did too. So if you don't get 100% adherence, now it's just a bad idea for everybody. So what about the first person who goes crazy on this Weight Watchers list that you're pushing now? Because I'm sorry, chicken does have calories, and while it would be very difficult to do, you can overeat anything. So where are you going next? Back to fasting? Make it make sense.
It's going to be a good talk because, you know, you're a little bit older than me. And what happened was, like you say, I coach a lot of people and I started seeing like people are always looking for gimmicks. And I'm not going to lie, I'm the king of fucking gimmicks. Okay. And you know, and then you see all the other YouTube channels too, because that's what sells. And really, anything, there's no replacement for a low fat, prioritizing lean protein, whole foods, carbohydrates diet. There's no fucking replacement for it. And that's what this whole thing brought me back to now.
Foster is a replacement for it. A replacement for it is whatever diet you will be able to adhere to. So if that ain't it, that ain't it.
Now, and it also made me refine my coaching because now I can just coach fat people, no gimmicks, no fucking calorie counting. I'm getting them even off the scale because all I do is I just coach them on food choice. If you show me your food choices, I'll show you where you're going to get. It's as simple as that. You know, and this is the thing, a lot of stuff back in the late 80s, early 90s with even the bodybuilding culture. Like, you know, you've heard of Susan Powder when she was pushing low-fat dieting. Like, they would have learned all that shit from, like, late 80s female bodybuilders, and their diets were rock-bottom fat, lean fucking protein, and carbohydrate, and they were ripped year-round. And
So it's not that I disagree with his approach because honestly, that's what the sugar diet did for me. It made me realize that if I ate carbs, because it wasn't sugar for me, it was carbs. It was fruit. It was freaking oatmeal, rice, all the things I was scared to eat. Potatoes, sweet potatoes. If I eat that through the day and then have like one meal with protein in it, I can get away with a couple cheat days a week and maintain. And I'm talking 3 to 4 cheat days a week of just eating like I normally do. But I don't want those results. I'm not at where I need to be. So I have to get more discipline and eat like that more. So like I do agree with the way of eating. I think it's an easy way to eat because low fat doesn't mean no fat. So that means you can fit almost just about anything in your day-to-day diet if you position it the right way. So don't necessarily disagree, but if he's saying that he's the king of gimmicks, where what does that say about his credibility at this point? And it hurts me to say because honestly, he helped me discover this way of eating that has me feeling amazing. I feel great. My skin is clear. My body is like ready to move at all times. It's just insane. But we're coming from the guy who says now we step off the scale. Don't get on the scale at all. Scaleless weight loss. And just 2 weeks ago, he was saying step on the scale 3 times a day.
obviously, they had tightened shit up before a show. And I started doing a lot of research into that shit. And if you want to give me a minute, I could even talk about some of the politics that really led to this whole fucking high fat movement in the late 90s. And it's funny because you have experience with wrestling. You know, your brother, obviously, he was in the WWF back in the day. And fucking, I was a kid watching fucking WWF. But it was very interesting. I started digging deep, and I got a lot of followers who are like in their mid 40s, early 50s. And they're like, holy fuck, cool. Since you started just promoting low fat dieting, lean protein, I even have a lady that's 70 years old that competed in bodybuilding in the 80s. And they just lost their way. They just lost their way. I only had to talk to her for 5 minutes. I'm like, low fat fucking diet, lean protein, clean carbs. You know, even the refined sugar doesn't fucking need to be there. You don't need to add sugar to your fucking sugar sources that are whole foods. Like, this is fucking common sense. So anyway.
If it's common sense, why were you saying the opposite? And then why did people get results on the opposite? Because you can't deny people's results, Cole, as much as you want to. Who is after you, Cole? Who? Is it the Canada feds? Are they off camera pointing a gun at you? because it's almost manic. It's almost insanity how fast the switch up is. It's insane. And I'm not defending sugar because I still like low key. I'm like who. It's gonna take a long time to unbrainwash myself to think that sugar is just the best thing you can do for your body. I don't believe that. But full circle with you.
I knew some of this history, some of this politics. It had to do with Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon. So you had the low fat craze, which people that were eating low fat were getting results. And really, you could actually say that Menser started really promoting lower fat in the bodybuilding community in the late 70s. And then the early 80s, 90s bodybuilders were fucking 20 times better.
Menser's my guy. I really like his stuff. Sad he left us so early in life, but he was also like a really smart guy. So like just the way he talked and the way he philosophized, I really find it entertaining.
Condition than the guys back in the day. And even like there's even Serge Nabray, he actually got fucking whacked out of competing in a bodybuilding competition with Arnie, and he was fucking shredded on like zero fat horse meat, right? Like, so anyway, I don't want to get off topic there, but like with Vince McMahon, so he was getting charged with distributing steroids to the WWF wrestlers in 1992, right? And so he had to go on damage control. And this is right when low fat, it was low fat, right? You had Susan Powder showing food choices, and she was more catering to mainstream. And you had the 80s bodybuilders are all fucking like diced, low fat dieting. And so what happened is Vince McMahon hired a guy, you know this shit, Mauro Di Pasquale, who was basically the medical director for the WBF Bodybuilding Federation. And so he hires him to go on damage control. And one thing led to another, and they created the anabolic diet, which is it's gimmick as fuck. And then they started testing that fucking high fat diet on some of those wrestlers, and they just got soggy as fucking hell because it was a gimmick to fucking try, because you know WWF is supposed to be family friendly, right? It was a gimmick to fucking say, oh, these wrestlers are doing this anabolic diet, which is essentially high fat during the week, carb cycling on the weekends. And then that led to, you know, snap into a Slim Jim, right? Like it led to this whole fucking high fat bullshit that's confused everybody. And you even go.
I'm not sure on how much I would say high fat is bullshit. Personally, I don't care what works for you. Everybody's welcome to this channel. I'm going to talk about eating high carbs until I'm not eating high carbs, and I honestly don't see me ever going back because of just the mixture of like how much the pros outweigh the cons for me.
Back to you're going back to Atkins. So Atkins was deader than dead since like 1972. It was dog shit. And Atkins ends up revising the Atkins diet in 97, and now you got the Atkins diet blowing up. And then you got like the .com bubble, and then you got people, that's when the diet religion really started. So now all the fucking shit, I'm trying to dig up old VHS tapes of old school dieting where these people, you know, when we're talking about the fat intake in that diet, the only fucking fat that's in that diet was in the lean meat sources. And I've been running, like you can run, and this is what all you know this, because you know, coming from bodybuilding shit, they never added fat to that diet, whether they were bulking, cutting, at maintenance, they were never adding dietary fat to that diet.
This is one thing I noticed with watching Coach Greg's stuff. Greg Doucette, he was making, like, you know, he does recipe videos, and he was with Will Tennyson, and they were putting butter in the pan or oil in the pan, and he took the spray, he said, Ksh. And Will was kind of like, is that gonna be enough? He's like, I don't need extra calories from this shit. And I was like, he is dialed in. I don't ever want to be that dialed in. But I noticed, like, when you do strip back the fat, because fat is so caloric and so I don't know if I say nutrient dense, but you get a lot of calories in a very small volume when it comes to fat. Like most dressings, 2 tablespoons of it is like 150 calories, more, some up to two. So I do notice like taking fat out like will automatically reduce calories a ton. And if you got a lot of fat already on your body, I am a firm believer that like you don't need as much dietary fat, because they was even pushing that for carnivores and for keto people. Like, don't do all these fat bombs if you're already fat. Like, let your body be your nutrition at that point, and you're just on maintenance. Um, when it comes to all other foods, you're just getting your protein in and letting your body live off of your body fat, because it's literally stored energy.
And so anyway, that's what all this shit led me to. And now I'm literally going back to the way I was dieting. I was doing this shit when I was 12 years old. I literally cut for bronze gloves when I was fucking turning 13. And I knew intuitively to cut the fat out of that fucking diet when I was a fucking child. And I used to do the same for the powerlifting meets, because if we're talking muscle mass preservation, nothing is going to give you the best fucking body composition over a low-fat diet, lean fucking protein, getting it in, and carbohydrate. And then if you want to get really anal with shit, you know, guys cutting for the bodybuilding shows would be even yanking the carbs down and even bumping the protein up even more, right, for the short term to get just diced. So, like, that's where I'm at. So my whole YouTube channel up to this point is fucking bullshit. Along with everybody else, anybody that's pushing fasting, like fasting.
That was the most honest he's been in this whole conversation. His channel up to this point has been bullshit. I just disagree with it. His channel has helped plenty of people find a way. He has this idea that there's the way, but there's just several ways of getting what you want. Like, it's hard. Like, you can call Kim Berry dad bod if you want to, but you can't call Sean Baker dad bod. You can't call Anthony Chafee, or even when the Godfather, Paul Saladino, was doing it. You can't call them dad bod, and they got results based off of what? Like, I was looking at Mark's videos the other day, and he said, I went from 300 pounds to blah, 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 sugar diet. And I was like, no, Mark, you went there low carb, because I've been following you as a low carb. Low carb led me here, because I follow you because you're one of those low carb proponents. And it's just one of those ways to, like, I like listening to a bunch of stuff to get motivated or to get educated, I guess. But sometimes it's just background noise while I do the dishes or while I'm walking the dog. But Mark Bell, I meant to also say you're a great guy, dude. He left a comment, a long comment, even with advice in it, on one of my posts, and I'm at 89 subscribers right now. That's not much, but then I think I was at 30, if that. And he took the time to leave a comment, and somebody else called him out for it too. And it's just that's pretty awesome. I appreciate that.
At a place if you're sick. But, you know, I know you always bring this up where things have, like, you know, what's the word you use? Not merit, but there's just no place for any of this yo-yo dieting bullshit, Mark. It's all just fucking excuses to still have a bunch of fucking dietary fat in your diet. And even the calorie restricting, all of a sudden you have fat in that diet, your metabolism goes to shit, which doesn't happen when you knock the fat out of that diet. Like, dietary fat fucks your metabolism. It fucks your metabolism. And that's why a lot of these people on a carnivore diet, and like, I just get on a rant on this, but like, even the fucking fatty meat, the carnivore diet itself, the way it's sold, is man-made as fuck. And they try to make it, because there's no fat in fucking nature. You didn't have any of this fat volume. Like, post-industrial revolution is when it really blew up, because you needed tech. But if you go to where I live right now and you had to live off the land, we're talking wild game meat.
He's on to something there.
We're talking wild chickens, deer meat as lean as fuck. We're talking berries, vegetables, peas and carrots, and fucking potatoes. Lean for fucking life. Clean dieting. There's no fucking fat out there. There's no fucking ribeye steaks. Even the oils, like the nuts and shit, like avocados are like fucking exotic. You know, there's just no real fat out there. Even the lions, them saying, oh, these cats eat all this fucking carnivore fuck. Those cats are eating lean fucking wild game. It's lean as fuck. And the reason those cats can pull it off and get enough glucose is because they're eating so much lean meat that they're fucking swinging over a lot of that protein into carbohydrate from gluconeogenesis. You know, that's what's going on. And so now I'm pushing clean fucking dieting, cut the fat right the fuck out, prioritize that lean protein.
So we're not gonna listen to the rest of that video because I'm actually late for a work call right now that I gotta go jump on. But last thoughts, Cole. Come on, man. Like, there's nothing wrong with taking some accountability. That's the only thing that's missing from the conversation. Like, you're trying to pretend like you were trolling, but you feel like you were wrong, and that's a different thing. And if you keep jumping from thing to thing, like, nobody's gonna, like, how do you know for sure this is the way forward? Because you haven't had enough time to, like, it hasn't been enough time you've been preaching this for you to even have clients to have lost a significant amount of weight. So you're just guessing and talking out of your ass. But I appreciate y'all. Please like and subscribe, and we'll talk on the next time. Peace.